So I'm here with Courtney Drake, who's a product manager here at Udacity. So thank you so much for talking to us today.
Absolutely.
So the first thing I wanted to ask was that there's this perception for online education that it's very disconnected and impersonal. And does that necessarily have to be the case?
I don't think it does. And I would say that's something that we have really focused on at Udacity is the kind of research and our experience with students that social learning is more effective than not social learning. And so that's something that we have really actually invested in quite a bit, especially this year. I think the challenge with social learning is that you still want to preserve some of the core benefits of online learning, like self-pacing and students' ability to kind of have their learning schedule be flexible around their life schedule. And so those kind of butt up a little bit against the ability to kind of connect students and have them really build deep connections with each other when they're not necessarily a synchronous environment. So I think those are some of the challenges. But at Udacity, we focus on a couple different ways of integrating interaction and collaboration into our online learning platform. The first way is through forums. And through forums that we've really focused on, like, how can we help students help each other and help them answer each other's questions and share with each other and share with a broader community of students. But it turns out that hasn't really been enough for students to feel like they are in a community, especially when it's, say, a nanodegree community that's 500 plus students. It's really hard to feel like I'm connected to those other 499 students. So what we've moved more towards recently, in addition to forums, is small learning communities that we're calling teams. And so when students sign up for a nanodegree, this is kind of rolling out progressively. They get matched up with a group of 10 to 12 other students who they then have a chat room with through the course of their nanodegree experience. And what we're hoping will kind of happen through that is they build a personal connection with those other students, and that's kind of their first point of contact. If they have a question, is run it by my team members. If we can answer it ourselves, awesome. And if not, then we're posting to the forums or we're going to coach support from Udacity. And we're hoping that will kind of help with three problems around social learning. One is accountability, is feeling like there are other people who care about my progress, and if I drop off, that doesn't just affect me, that affects other people. The other is just a level of engagement. I don't feel like I'm alone. And the third piece is if I'm helping other people and I'm teaching other people, I actually learn more that way. So having those connections where we can kind of have a back and forth chat exchange can actually deepen what I'm learning if I'm the one who's the helper.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I think that exactly what you just described is something we try and create in our OMS classes. We do it on Piazza right now, at least. Mm-hmm. And I think we exactly try and create that is a lot of interaction among students and very frequent interaction, such that I feel like there is a community here present right now, and if I write something, I'm going to get a response pretty quick and pretty targeted to what I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. But one interesting thing that happens in the OMS community is that the largest social community around it is actually a student-run community. It's run by several students who created a Google Plus community, and I think that creates a lot of interesting ownership because it's student-run. It's not this kind of thing that I'm being handed and being asked to play by your rules. Yeah. Is there anything we can do when designing online technologies or educational technology in general to kind of allow room for these kind of student-driven communities to emerge? Yeah,
so when we've experimented with how do we help students create small communities, and when we've just kind of let them have a free-for-all, we found that they don't. It's like some students start it, and the really driven students will start smaller communities, and it's really awesome when they do that, and we see some great interaction. But the norm is not, I'm going to start a community, or I'm going to join a community on my own. And so we've actually felt like we've needed to give students more structure to form those communities, which is why we have facilitated this way of having them join a team from the very beginning. We say, tell us your availability, we will put you in a team, and then let them go from there. So we felt like we actually needed to create that structure, and I guess we'll see how the ownership plays out there. Mm-hmm. And even when we've experimented with that, saying we're going to actually put you in teams together, we found that unless one student really steps up into some kind of leadership role, they kind of fall flat. Mm-hmm. And so where we've said, okay, how do we scale really solid community interaction if we don't necessarily know who those students are who are going to step up into a leadership role. And so that actually seeded in the idea for a guides program, is what we're calling it, where we're enlisting students who are farther ahead in the degree programs who have graduated to come back and be a guide for our teams. Oh. So they're coming to weekly sessions with those teams, and they're engaging and chat with their teams throughout the week to really help them foster a sense of community and get to a place where they're really gelling and can, carry themselves forward on their own. So that's something we've just started. It's pretty cool because it is actually students who are coming back into that fray, and it's actually a really nice kind of motivational piece to say, like, look at this other student who is in the same place that I was 3 months ago, and look at all they know, and maybe they even have a job already that I want to get eventually. So it's a nice piece of motivation. It's also a way for us to kind of have feet on the ground, know what's going on, and make sure that those communities are healthy and strong.
Yeah. It actually sounds very similar to what we do in the LMS program, because that's we just described as very similar to TAs when we solicit next semester's TAs from the semester students. So, and I think it works really nicely when we have a big group of very, very good students who are passionate about helping, who aren't just crossing an item off a to-do list, but really enjoy helping out their fellow students. Yeah. That's been one of the most inspiring things about the LMS program, is that we see a lot more of those students who want to help each other and want to come back and work on it and contribute to the class. So yeah, it's been very inspiring. I'm sure it'll work nicely. Yeah. So one thing I've noticed also is that we have the stereotype that online education is impersonal and disconnected, and then, like you just said, that there are ways we can actually compensate for that. But are there times when the online environment actually makes it even better than it could be in person, do you think?
I definitely think that there are times, for sure. And one piece of it is the geographical reach that we get with online learning, is that we have students who are connecting from all over the world. And that's a really powerful experience for someone who has never done that before. And if you're all in the same place, you don't get that kind of diversity of perspective that you do with a global learning community. So we definitely have that piece. The other piece is that if it's less synchronous and people are kind of learning on their own schedules, it means that they're kind of available whenever. And so we've actually really leveraged mobile for this with the team feature that we just released, where we have mobile chat apps on both iOS and Android. So if I've had this happen with my own team, which I'm participating in, where I will be out at dinner or something, and I see that my team chats something, and I can just like pop back in and answer a question. So the kind of ubiquitous nature of the internet really helps us or helps students kind of connect more frequently with each other than just if we're having a class once a week or something like that. It keeps it top of mind and keeps the kind of communication flow happening more easily.
Yeah, I agree completely. I think one of my experiences being an instructor in this program has been that I can sign on to Piazza that we use for our forums right now, and in 5 minutes I can interact with 10 different students. Yeah. I can come back an hour later and do it again. And in person you really can't have that frequency of interaction. So the internet really, that perception that it's 24/7 available, really changes what we can do and how often we can interact. So.
For sure.
Great. Well, thank you so much.
Absolutely. Happy to help.